Benjamin Savva, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much. How you going, mate?
Good, my friend. So I'm glad we decided to wing it. I've been doing intros at the start, which is I always fuck it up. But Benjamin, pro boxer, entrepreneur, businessman, app developer,
Everything these days.
partner to a world champion boxer. I'm going to butcher it, but for anyone who doesn't know who you are, why don't you give us just a little elevator pitch on who you are and what you do?
Good question. Who am I? The main thing, obviously, that you know me for is the boxing side of my life. At the moment, I wouldn't go as far as to say I'm a professional boxer anymore. I'd say I was a professional boxer. I'm now a coach. I've got 4 professional boxers under my wing and a team of amateurs. So that covers that side of it. And from the entrepreneurial side, as you know, we're doing the Corporate Boxing Challenge, which is a 10-week program for people who are looking to get into boxing for the first time and challenge themselves. Mm-hmm. And then I'm in the process of building an app at the moment. Yeah,
beautiful, good intro. I'm keen on this for a number of reasons, because I think the name of the podcast we're going to call Unbreakable, and it's going to be money, motivation, mindset, interesting stories from inspiring people.
Cool.
So that's a good spectrum of stuff.
I've got all except the money, mate.
Well, no. See, here's the thing. So, everyone who got where they are had to start where they were.
Yeah.
And ambition's just as valuable as money in the bank.
Yeah, 100%.
Because you could have money in the bank, but with no ambition, it is what it is. It's not going to go anywhere further than that. And we've had people on here that have made millions of dollars, lost it all in 2 days, myself included, and then made it all back again. So the concept is doesn't really matter where anyone is. Yeah. We want to capture the successes, the failures, and the journey. 100%. And I think with your story, well, there's a lot of stories that underpin what you've done.
Yeah.
And I think it can be broken up into a little bit about your background, kind of how you got into boxing, the journey as a pro boxer, coming out the other side, becoming a trainer, getting together with your beautiful partner, going from kind of pro boxer to a mentor to pro boxers and a coach, and then building businesses around what you love.
Yeah.
I think the reason I've enjoyed doing podcasts with fighters specifically is because there's a lot of overlay between martial arts and being an entrepreneur, I think.
Yeah.
Resilience, toughness, no excuses. If you don't train properly in your world, you get hit in the face. If you don't train properly in my world, you go bankrupt.
Yeah.
And if you make excuses, you'll fail. If you blame other people, you'll fail. It's also very lonely because there's no one else apart from you.
Yeah.
Same as being an entrepreneur. So I think there's that aspect. And then there's also the aspect of, I've never met anyone in fighting that has had a boring life.
Yeah,
I don't know if you have.
Definitely not. It's definitely not. I've got a story to tell.
Correct. And I'm keen to get into those. So let's kick off. Who got you into boxing and how did it start?
So for me, I'm not from a family of fighters. My granddad boxed amateur in the army, but I never even met my granddad. He died before I was born. So it's not a family tradition as such. It was just a case of my dad, from a very young age, always encouraged us to do martial arts for self-defense purposes. That was literally how it all started. We started with Taekwondo. We were mad obsessed, myself and my brother, when I say we.
Older, younger?
Older brother, 1 year older. So we were just always obsessed with the Van Damme films and the Rocky films. We both started with Taekwondo. I did that for 4.5 years. I got a black belt in Taekwondo before I was 10 years old, which is a pretty good achievement. And then
I didn't know that.
Yeah, a little surprise already.
No, you can kick people in.
I can't anymore, mate. I've got no flexibility, but back in the day, I wasn't too bad. And then we moved town, and fortunately for me, there wasn't a Taekwondo gym available. And second in line, because of Rocky, I was always a massive fan of boxing, and there was a boxing gym nearby. As soon as I walked in that door, from maybe 11 years old, I knew my life was about boxing.
Really?
And I've never had any other passion. That's literally been my entire life. Boxing. I love it just as much today as I did the day I walked through that gym door.
Love this passion, bro.
Yeah.
This is why I love talking to people.
It's everything. It's literally my entire life. As you just mentioned, my partner is on the verge of winning a world title as well. Obviously, I'll explain that later. But our entire life is boxing. That's it.
Even I remember in the pandemic when everyone's businesses got shut down, and we won't rant too much about that even though. But I think one of the things I admired that you did was you didn't cry, you didn't make excuses, you didn't complain, you didn't engage in any fuckery. You just got out there with a camera and started making content.
Yeah, that's literally what happened. Exactly that. As soon as the gym closed, They came in and said, from Friday the gym's got to close. So I was like, right, online we go. So I just got my Instagram page up and I started doing, I started off with go lives, doing just training, just me speaking to my phone, training anybody who wanted to watch, and that sort of took off. And then we made a bit of a paid platform via Zoom for like to try and make some money with what during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And then I started doing coaching videos, and actually I cannot recommend doing anybody who has the ability to speak to a camera, getting on Instagram and YouTube and stuff like that, as you're now about to embark on this journey. It opens so many doors.
Bro, it's funny you say that because you are right.
Yeah.
And I spoke to a very successful individual in this space, and their advice, which I think you're emblematic of, was like, if you're nervous about getting in front of a camera, is your message more important than your hesitation? You know, is your message more powerful than your fear?
Yeah.
And if your message and what you want to communicate to people is more powerful than your fear of a camera, then just fucking get in front.
100%. And I had the same. Like, I was absolutely terrified. I hated it. Like, people think I'm super confident when it's about boxing. Put me in front of 1,000 people, 10,000 people, no problem. I can talk boxing till the end of time. Get me in front of a camera and ask me to speak about myself and stuff like that. Completely different ball game. So going in front of a camera and exposing myself like that to start with was really hard. For whatever reason, for me, it was harder in front of a camera than ever. Teaching's different. Teaching boxing, like, I'm just comfortable. I'm going through my motions. I've done it all my life, so I know that.
How do you feel about it now compared to that?
Comfortable. Yes. Yeah, no issues now. No issues. I'm actually, as you probably know, doing the before the fight stuff now, which it potentially could go on TV this year, which is I'm a panelist on a TV show.
Right.
Doing that, so that's another thing.
Which show?
Before the Fight, it's called.
Oh, sorry, Before the Fight.
Yeah, Before the Fight, yeah.
Right,
so
right.
Currently they just do stuff on YouTube and Instagram, but they're working hard to try and get us on TV.
That's
so
locked in?
Potentially. It's all in negotiations at the moment. So
awesome.
So hopefully that goes on TV, and then that gives me another audience there.
And do you feel it's almost as if, like, when you first got in front of the camera during the pandemic, it was like a gateway to all these bigger things?
100%. Yeah, that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for that. Basically, I just backed myself and I backed my belief of my knowledge in boxing. There's a lot of people out there who probably don't want to say it in case they're wrong. I'm convinced, in an arrogant kind of way, I'm convinced I'm right. So I'm willing to say it, and if you disagree, no problem.
But you have to have that.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, it all comes down to that. It's a self-belief. If you don't have the confidence in what you're saying, you're never going to say it.
And if you don't believe in yourself, no one else will believe in you.
So, and anyway, it's paid off. Like, I've had companies in America paying me to do boxing courses online and stuff. A company called Dynamic Striking, which has got a huge market, and it's all come from.
They are very big.
I wish I'd have known. I wish I'd have understood the promotion side of promoting yourself side of the business, and I'm talking about in the boxing sense, many years earlier. Because as you see nowadays, most of the people that are making big money in boxing, it's not because of their fighting skills. In fact, most of the people making more money are YouTubers who have no skills, terrible boxers, couldn't compete at a domestic level, making millions of dollars. Because what people need to understand, professional boxing especially, boxing's a business disguised as a sport.
100%. I could not agree with that more.
Boxing is literally, it's a sport for the fighters only. Everybody outside of it, which is a massive market as well, from the promoters, the managers, it's a business. You're a commodity. Only the boxers see it as a sport.
How does it feel to understand that now?
Like I said, it's just regretful that I didn't figure this out earlier, but such is life. Right. I think it's one of the reasons that I can go on to be a great coach and do great things outside of boxing, and that is because I've learned this stuff along the way. For me, it might not have been the best thing for my career. I figured this stuff out too late. I still had a good career, don't get me wrong, I did well, but I feel like if I'd have figured this stuff out a lot earlier, I think my life could be dramatically different. But
I want to pull you up on something. No, it's funny you say that, because I used to say this as an entrepreneur. I was like, man, if I cracked this code 10 years ago, I would have been a multi-millionaire at like 25. But having said that, you know, sometimes it's like, be careful what you wish for, because if you acquire something too fast, too young, you haven't built like the maturity, the intellectual skills, the social skills that comes with managing that success.
If I'd have made money when I was 25, I'd have been a dickhead.
Horrible person.
Just being realistic. Like, the lessons that I've learned have come at the right time when I'm mature enough to handle those lessons.
Correct.
And I think that's one of the. Don't get me wrong. I'm not. I sound like I'm putting myself down. I did well in my boxing career, as you know. Like, I won 4 professional titles. I've got to travel the world. I've made a living from my boxing career. So it's not like I've failed at my boxing career, but I know that I could have gone a lot further. But I've learned all of these things, and these are lessons that I can pass on to the younger generation and the people coming through. Is where did I go wrong? What are the mistakes I made? And that hopefully I can pass them lessons on.
Do you find it it's kind of like rewarding to unlock this sort of skill set in other people, having gone through it yourself?
Take great pride in that.
Yeah.
I love it. There's nothing like this. Now, this is the reason you see most boxers, they go off the rails when they retire from boxing because they don't have anything else. I've found a tremendous passion in teaching. I absolutely love teaching. It's that now this is it. It's just as important to me as my boxing career was.
That's awesome.
So I'm very lucky that it was an easy transition to go from fighter to coach because I enjoy that side of it as well. So yeah, passing on these lessons it's part of the fun.
You're also kind of building a legacy, man, because like, you know, the more people you empower, the more your story is going to be told, the more your message is going to spread, the more your business is going to be seen by the people.
Yeah.
Do you kind of think about like the fact that you're, with all your ventures and the people you're mentoring, that you're kind of like creating that legacy moving forward, or do you just kind of get at it?
Yeah, I think probably a combination of the two. Sometimes you might sit down and take a look at what you're doing, but the majority of the time it's what I am, it's what I do, and I just crack on with it. Yeah. Take every day as it comes, and
mate,
I'm enjoying the process.
Yeah, some of the stuff you've done is very impressive, man. Honestly, I think you know, the fact that you've managed to expand that reach through social media, you know, the amount of people that you've coached and mentored. I mean, the results speak for themselves. What was I'm just trying to backtrack a little bit. Like, what was the last fight? Like, when did you hang up the gloves, and how soon after did the coaching start?
I can tell you, going slightly off topic, I can tell you the exact moment or the thing in my life that made me go from. Obviously, I always had the martial arts and the boxing anyway, but I was falling into the trap of going just down a normal life, and I absolutely hated it. I worked in a warehouse for 5 years working for an offshore
Terrifying.
company, and it was the worst 5 years of my life. Like, every day was like solitary confinement. 10 hours a day, I was working in a warehouse by myself. There was nobody else. There was 3 people in the office and me in the warehouse. 10 hours a day for 5 years. And I did it because at the time, like, I was young and it was easy money. It was like guaranteed money. And I fell into that trap and I let my boxing slip. And that 5 years, after 5 years, I was like, I don't want to say suicidal, but it was borderline. Like, I was so miserable. And it was that point when I was like, right, if I'm going to do this, I've just got to do it. And I opened a gym. I just went to the bank. I didn't even create a business plan. I went to the bank and told them, because I had a decent credit score because of 5 years of work.
Yeah.
I went to the bank and just said I want to borrow money for a car. And then I used that money to open a gym.
How much was that?
I can't remember now, maybe 30 grand or something like that, which at the time was enough to open a gym, believe it or not. In England.
Right.
And then from there, that's where, and then a year into that, maybe 18 months into that, I realised, all right, I'll tell you. Basically, once I opened the gym, I became a big fish in a small pond, where everybody in my small town knew who I was, and I was Ben with the gym, and I thought I was God's gift, and I was out drinking every weekend, chasing girls, and just generally being a dickhead.
Yeah, we've been there, bro.
Yeah, exactly. So I took the leap, and it opened my eyes, and I got back into boxing, but also it sent me down another path, which was also wrong for me. And then I sold the gym and I came to Australia. So It's when I got to Australia that my boxing career really took off again.
I didn't know this part of the story. Right. It's okay. So you take out the loan, you buy the gym, ego gets pumped up a little bit, start hitting the drinks, pull yourself in, pack up the gym and move to Australia. What made you move here? Was it a girl?
How deep do I go into these stories?
We're here to go deep, bro.
Okay, right. So I met this girl. As always. And she had some personal issues and she wanted to get out of the town. So I sold my gym. I was like happy to do it. How much do I say?
A girl with personal issues. I've never heard that before.
Yeah,
bro.
exactly.
That's rare.
A rarity. So we got to Australia. We went traveling. I set off from England knowing that I wasn't going back. I had it in my head, like, once I'd sold my gym, I was like, I'm not coming back to this town. I'm going to find somewhere new to live.
Quick question. Normally I find there's like something that happens when you're that adamant about something. Was there anything that happened that like really drove that, like, fuck this?
Getting up to no good.
Right.
I was acting an idiot. I didn't like who I was becoming. It was a personal decision. It wasn't necessarily a particular event. It was just, I didn't like the person I was becoming. It wasn't, when I left my job in the warehouse to open the gym, I thought that was the big transition where I'm now going to go in the right direction, and it didn't work out that way. For whatever reason, like you said, too young. That's what we were talking. That's how we got to this. If I'd have made a shitload of money at that point,
You've been
who knows where. I'd
Yeah,
be,
I-
mate.
I would hate myself if I had that much money at that age.
I probably wouldn't have it for very long anyway, being realistic at that.
I'd uppercut myself.
Yeah. So I just, like, I've always had the ability to sort of assess myself and look at what I'm doing and ask myself whether that's the right thing. Yeah, I'm self-aware, and I just knew that I was not going down a path that I wanted to go down. So it was time to get out. And I set off, and then drama happened on this side, and I ended up by myself without the girl and without any money as well.
Right.
So I was living.
What was the drama?
Yeah, I won't go into that. So
Can you tell any little bits of it?
No, I'll keep that part. I don't want to bring that stuff up.
Is
But
it incriminating?
nah, nothing like that. But I ended up in Australia,
Right.
living in a hostel by myself with no money.
A British person in a hostel. That's
I
as well.
know,
We're
I
getting all
know.
these rare things, bro.
And then it was pretty bad. Like when we first broke up, I was on the verge of going home, and all my family was like, "Don't do it, Ben. Like you've got a mission to do. You've said what you want to do.
It's good.
Go and do it." Yeah, even like, and I literally had no money. Like I went from being the flash guy in the gym to being potless with no money.
Yeah.
Sat in a hostel in Australia, not knowing
Humbling.
anybody. Like back to the drinking and stuff. Not makes me sound like I'm a big drinker. I was never
No,
a drinker,
absolutely.
but you know what I mean. Like just
When you're going through these, it's like this part's a natural.
yeah,
It's a natural inclusion.
100%. And then so I ended up staying, like, my mum was, this is how, it was pretty rough. Like, my mum was literally sending money, paying for shopping on the Coles website, so that I had food to eat. Like, that's how, like,
That's nice though, bro.
Yeah,
What a
it was-
good mum.
yeah, it was good. It was good. My best
good.
mate flew over for a couple of weeks because he knew I was in bits.
That's good.
So like, I had a lot of support. Even though I was on the other side of the world, I still had a lot of
These
support.
foundations are very important.
100%, yeah. Family and friends.
100%.
You can't
I've been picked up out of the gutter many times.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, there we are. So anyway, like, so I stayed a little bit, and then the first time I walked into a boxing gym, I don't know if you've met Mo, one of my friends who's now one of my best friends. I walked into the boxing gym and I said, "Look, I can't afford your membership, but I know how to box. If I teach a couple of classes, will you let me train here?" And the owner of the gym was, "Don't worry about it. Just come in tonight. We'll have a look at you and we'll figure something out." So to me, walking in the gym that night, it was like a job interview. So whatever they told me to do, I had to be the best at it. And I walked in, and there's a guy called Mo who's the best boxer in the gym.
Yeah.
Like, "Oh, Ben, you're gonna spar Mo," and I was like, "All right, I know what's going on here."
Right.
So I got in. We're now like best mates. So
Yeah.
So it's a full.
So
There we
which
go.
gym's Mo at now?
Mo lives in Mexico now. He's just moved
Right.
to Mexico. But
Was he at Tiger Muay Thai when we were over there?
no,
No. Okay.
no, you didn't see him.
Yeah.
So
Alcoholic over here.
I'll take that back. I apologise about
That's
that.
okay. So you're in there. So Mo asked you to spar.
So the owner of the gym said, have you got your sparring gear?" I was like, "Yeah." So he introduces me to Mo, who's clearly like the top dog in the gym. So he's like, "All right, I've got to prove you that I'm the top dog in this gym."
Yeah.
So I got in there and I absolutely punched his head in, like battered him in front of the entire gym.
Really?
Yeah, to me it was like a job interview. I shouldn't really be bragging about this, but I was like,
This is a story we're here for.
I need this gym to know I'm the man. So I absolutely pounded him. And then an hour after leaving the gym that night, the owner of the gym phones me up. He's like, "You've got a PT in the morning." And that was it. And within like a couple of weeks, I was on a full-time wage, which was dramatically higher than anything you can earn in England.
That's it.
So yeah, and that was it. And away we went. And then from there, I met my boxing coach and turned pro in that gym.
So you walk into a gym, you get put up against the best guy to spar. You put in a good round. You flog your mate.
Yeah.
Now best friend. You get offered a job and you have a client the next day.
Literally. Yeah.
Seriously?
And then from there, within maybe 3-4 weeks, I was like basically managing the gym. The owner of the gym put me on a wage just to hang out in the gym and like fix a few things and do things. And then from there, like I said, my now boxing coach, my professional boxing coach, was in there training somebody else, and I introduced myself and asked him if I could get involved in that. That was the pro career. And then my Colombian girlfriend walks in as well. I met her, became her coach. So that one gym was
What
like
did you coach her before you were dating?
along the same lines. So
Right.
she was doing the classes and we started hanging out, and it's sort of, I wasn't really her coach. She was a member of the gym, and it's sort of,
Yeah.
we argue, we debate whether
I was gonna
which
say.
came first, the chicken or the egg.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know
yeah.
whether we were a couple first or whether I was a coach first, but yeah,
Right.
pretty much along the same lines. So that gym is like a gold piece of my memory because so many great things came from that moment, from being on the absolute bottom. When I met Vivian, I moved from the hostel. Once I became a sort of familiar face in the gym, I was living in the gym, sleeping on the gym floor.
Really?
So I was literally, that gym was like the turning point in my life where my Australian dream started. Yeah.
Isn't it funny how quickly things can turn around?
Yeah. Oh, it's crazy.
You know, 1 minute you're getting mum's dropping off like eggs from Coles from the UK.
Yeah.
Next thing, job, good pay, good gym, girlfriend.
I was in training camp with Shane Mosley.
Really?
Yeah. So that was just like, again, all within the first couple of months. I was in there one day, and Shane Mosley. Do you know who Shane? Mosley is?
Yeah. Isn't his coach Rushton?
No. Shane Mosley's an American guy.
Sorry, wrong
But
one.
he's like he's like an all-time great boxer, like
Yep.
multiple-time world champion.
Yeah, no, I know who he is.
He walks in the gym door, and he's asking. He's here to fight Anthony Mundine, and he's asking them, "Can I use this space to train?" The girl on reception, and she thought he was just a walking-in member, and she's there showing him the timetable. We've got boxer size at 10 a.m. and I walk, and I just walk around the corner, I was like, "Oh my God, Shane Mosley's there." I was like, introduced myself, and I told her who he was, and then like that was it. He did his whole training camp in the gym, so it was just like everything good came from this gym, from probably being in the worst place I've ever been, to suddenly I found myself a boxing coach. I've got back into boxing after not fighting for nearly 8 years.
Yeah.
So I thought my actual fighting days were over. Suddenly I'm turning pro. I met my partner, who I'm still with almost 10 years later. I met Shane Mosley. I got a full-time wage from having no money. It was just everything fell into place in that gym.
That's hectic. Yeah, this is what we're here to talk. This is what we love.
Yeah.
That's hectic, bro. It's a good turnaround story.
Yeah.
So okay, so you're in there, and so you turned pro from this gym.
Yes. Yeah.
Talk me through that experience.
So my coach is a guy called Adam White. He's one of the best fighters like ever to come out of Australia. He fought I think he's the first person on the planet to fight for world titles in 3 different disciplines: Muay Thai, K1, and boxing.
Wow.
Which makes there's not many people can jump sporting codes and get to the absolute elite of elite. 3 of them.
Did John Wayne Parr do 3?
John Wayne Parr just does Muay Thai, and he won a couple of boxing titles, but they weren't at world level. But yeah, he did. He still did amazing. Yeah, but Muay Thai is his like
just out of this.
He's like a superstar Muay Thai fighter who's played with boxing sort of thing, whereas Muay Thai is his.
He reminds me of like, I don't know, he's got that John Jones X factor. You know, where it's just like must come from another planet where they just like fight all day on that planet.
An animal.
Right. So your coach 3 disciplines.
So I seen him training a guy called Kerry Foley one day, who was also a professional boxer, obviously. And I just went up to him and said, like, how do I get involved? Like, I'm interested in training with you. And he's like, we're only looking for southpaws at the moment. Left-handed fighters prefer Kerry. And I was like, I can fight southpaw as well. I'll do that.
Could you?
And, yeah, I can, but I'm not great, but I can do it. Yeah. So I jumped in and started sparring him. And from there, I was like, what do I need to do for you to train me? He's like, just keep turning up. And for like the first month or so, it was like, I'd walk in, he'd be like, over on the back, half an hour, just non-stop straight punches. And I'd turn up again the next day, non-stop uppercuts, non-stop straight punches. Right, you're just doing power. No interest in me, just like, I think it's almost like a test. And well, that's how I always see it. I don't know to this day whether this is what he was seeing, but I was like, I'm just going to keep turning up. And then after maybe 2 or 3 weeks, jump in, we'll do a couple of rounds on the pads. And from there, it just progressed from there. And I was all right, what do I need to do to turn pro? And
legit.
There we are, yeah. And then we went on that fun journey as well.
And I'd tell you something interesting. I don't know if you've noticed. You've got a similar attitude now to people that you mentor. Because I've seen you, where they'll inbox you because they see a cool video on YouTube and they're like, I want to be a pro. You're like, okay, rock up on Monday.
Yeah.
No one shows up. Oh, what happened? Oh, no, I really want to be a pro. Okay, cool. Come up on Tuesday. But it's like,
you know what? Everybody wants to be a pro boxer.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to be a pro boxer until it's time to get up early in the morning and do your run and watch what you eat and not go out partying and drinking. Everyone wants to. So people think I'm rude on my Instagram and stuff because I get messages every day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, don't message, turn up.
Yeah.
This is the time of the classes, turn up. Whatever level you are, you want to do it, I'll see you Monday. And probably 1 in 500 turn up.
Bro, it's almost like you're describing being an entrepreneur because it's the same shit. I want to be a millionaire. Okay, cool. Do thing A and B.
Yeah.
2 days later, I'm depressed. I don't have any money. I want to be a millionaire.
Yeah.
Okay, just do thing A and B. 3 days later, oh, my life sucks. I'm like, have you fucking done A and B?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
It's a real simple formula. Again, as much as like I said, I was world ranked with the WBC. I did well, but I underachieved in my career. Like for my talent level, I probably should have done a fair bit more. But
it's arguable. You got to make a choice between each route.
Well, I'll tell you, I know what it is. What it was is I've never fully committed to the boxing as much as I committed to it. It's not like you look at like someone like Floyd Mayweather, just trains year round, doesn't have a break, never drinks, never does this. Whereas I was like in and out, flirted with the idea, waiting for the right opportunity to come to me. Whereas the reality is, what you need to do, instead of saying I want to be a world champion, ask yourself, what is a world champion? A world champion is someone who gets up at 5 a.m. every day and runs. They watch what they eat every day. They don't drink any days. They live this lifestyle. They're in bed by 9 p.m. Start doing what a world champion does now. The belt will come later. Whereas myself, like many other people, sort of, you're half into it, waiting for something good to come along, so then you can go fully into it. Well, that's a mistake, because that means your eyes half out the door already. What you need to do if you want to be successful is go, what do I need to do in your entire life? Like, I admire people like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm going to be a bodybuilder. Boom. And there's nothing else in the world exists until that job's done. I'm going to be a politician. I'm going to be an actor. And I admire people like that. And I figured it out a little bit too late. I still, like I said, I still did well, and I'm doing well in life. But I know, like, looking back, then that's the lesson I try and pass on to the younger people, is like, don't make the mistakes that I made. Like, that's the key. The thing that makes me a good coach is that I teach the mistakes more than I do the right things. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. And you're going to go in the right direction.
Yeah, man, it's like listening to someone's taking the words out of my mouth. Because it's weird. Like, I know also you're a perfectionist, you know?
Yeah.
It's got to be perfect, but like, you've also got a very acute sense of awareness.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, you know, I think you've got a perception for people who are at the top of their craft.
Yeah.
And that's something that a lot of overachievers have.
Yeah.
You know, like, real knows real.
Yeah.
Success knows success.
Yeah.
And if you're obsessed with something, it's very fucking hard to fail.
Yeah. It's literally that simple.
You're obsessed. Yeah.
It really is that simple. And like, anyone, you can ask yourself, like, how much am I really, like, when people, exactly what you just said, people feeling sorry for themselves. I know, because I've been that person on many occasions. Oh, life's too dark, this is
all the fucking time.
Do you think Arnold Schwarzenegger was doing that? No. Right, this door's closed. Where's the next door? Where's the next door? That's the one thing that I love about my partner. Do you know what? Most of these lessons have probably been taught from my partner. I was obviously...
From Viviana?
Yeah.
Really?
When I met Viviana, I was in probably like the darkest place of my life, going through a lot of shit, really down in the dumps, and she's the solution finder.
Bro, that's beautiful.
She taught me the way, mate.
She's this.
Yeah, Viviana's the reason that I've got the mindset that I've got now. Is she's the one that's instilled that positivity. It's not like, don't look at the problem, look for the solution.
You know, it's so funny you mentioned that. I'll just quickly touch this, but on another podcast, like, don't tell you about the time I went bankrupt. I got done over for like 100K.
Yeah, you said.
Yeah, and I went home and I had a 3-month-old baby, and I couldn't afford baby formula. I couldn't afford a bus home. I had to walk over the bridge. I had no money. And I was like, I can't even afford to kill myself. I can't afford rope. Yeah. And then I can't even afford to go to Bunnings, bro. And then my partner, she was so chill. She's like, you'll be fine. I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
I was like, we're fucked. I'm not going to be fine. She's like, she goes, well, worst case, we'll just move in with my parents. I was like, I'll fucking kill someone before we move in with your parents. She goes, see that attitude? She's like, that's why we're not going to be broke. And it just changed my whole life, my way of thinking. Yeah. It's amazing how, like, one positive person can just turn everything around. Yeah. What can I ask, like, what sort of things would she tell you during this time, and what sort of things would she teach you? Because this is a good story. I like this.
Pretty much everything I've said so far is a direct reflection of things she said to me.
Really?
Yeah. She's been an amazing person in my life. Like I said, for me, I was too easily distracted, too negative. If something comes along, like, the world would crumble over the smallest, oh God, that's the end of this. Like, one slight hurdle, oh no, well, that's that door closed, forget that. And she's like, no, just walk around it. Like, let's get around this hurdle. What's the issue? What's the solution?
That's so.
We make a good couple.
She's got a good work ethic too.
Yeah,
like ruthless work ethic.
Like nobody I've ever seen in my life. Yeah. So when she started boxing, she was like just doing the boxercise classes, and she spoke to a few other coaches before training with me. And she was like, I want to be a boxer. I want to go to the Olympics. I want to go to the World Championships. And they're like, women's boxing is not really a thing. You're too old. You're this. She hadn't even boxed. She 31 before she walked through a gym door.
Isn't it funny how people talk shit to other people about,
oh, yeah,
you're too this, you're too that. Yeah. You're too skinny for the gym. You're too fat to lose weight. You're too broke to be rich.
There's two ways you can take that. Some people use that as a reason why not. Some people use that as the motivation as to fucking prove them wrong. And she was that person. She was like, and then she spoke to me and I was like, and actually before I trained her, I didn't really train female boxers because I always had I don't mind it, man. I was like, no, not that. No.
Oh, okay. I was like, you don't want to.
For me, the only other girl I'd ever seen in a boxing gym, in my amateur gym in England, only went in there to flirt with the guys and hang out with the guys. So that was my perception, was women don't belong in boxing gyms. I don't mind admitting it now because I've been proved incredibly wrong with some of the girls I've had over the years.
Yeah.
So, but that was my perception. I was like, oh God. And then she was like, look, I want to do this. I was like, all right, let's go on this journey together, because we were starting to get close. And I was like, all right, let's see how far we can take it. and she fought anybody. She did not give a shit. I was like, you've started at 31. To get to the elite level quick, you have to fight whoever I tell you to fight. Just fight, win, lose, doesn't matter. Just keep going. Every week we were driving all over New South Wales. I think she had like 35 fights in the first year as a boxer. Just bang, bang. Really? Every week, every second week, just going. She won the Australian title within a year of starting.
What a fucking weapon.
She won the Australian title within a year of starting, and now she's won three amateur Australian titles. She went to the World Championships to represent Australia. She won a gold medal at an international tournament. She's won the Colombian professional title, the WBC Latino title, the WBA Oceania title, and the IBF Australasian title. Yeah, and she's number 7 in the world. So
we've got enough room to keep all the belts.
Yeah, we're looking to get a new cabinet at the moment, actually. But we're missing one. One, and we're going to get it this year. She's going to be a world champion.
What day is that?
We don't know yet.
Okay,
but it's coming.
Yeah,
she's going to win a world title at the end of the year. Yep.
Fucking good attitude.
And that's the story. You think my story's interesting? Her story, 31 years old, starts boxing, world champion at 40.
I'll tell you what I find really fascinating and interesting and inspiring is the fact that, like, you've just sat here talking about how she's, like, you know, motivated you at that period of your life to become a better version of you, and she had all this confidence in you.
Yeah.
And then 10 years later, look at how you're talking about her.
Yeah.
That's just a beautiful thing to watch. Yeah. Oh, man, what a great story.
Yeah, she's unbelievable, like, her story. You'll have to get her on the podcast, mate.
I'd love to, bro.
Unbelievable.
I think it's one of those things where it's like, you know, and again, it's like business, money, fitness, whatever you're doing, sport, like, everyone sees the tip, but nobody sees what you just described.
You couldn't even begin to imagine. Yeah. Like last year, we were struggling to get her fights because she's so small. There's not many girls her weight in Australia. So we used all of our savings, like self-funded, flew her to Colombia for 3 months. I couldn't go. So she went there without a coach, obviously without a partner, but mainly without a coach.
Yeah.
I had to stay here and work and keep the ship afloat here. And she was traveling around Colombia by herself, going into different gyms and promotions and saying, get me a fight. And
really?
She'd turn up in like random places in the middle of Colombia, just her and her mum. Her mum would go with her as a moral support.
Really?
I would warm her up via Zoom call. She'd get just any random, will you corner me? And she was fighting girls. She won 2 professional titles over there without a coach. She just got up to a random person. Are you a boxing coach? Yep. Can you do my corner?
Yeah.
And she was there by herself, like fighting these girls. Yeah, crazy. Like one of the fights, she didn't get in the ring until 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Excuse me, there was like one of the fights was in a nightclub in Bogota, Colombia, and there was tear gas sprayed in the crowd, and they all had to run out, and then she'd go back in and get in the ring and still fight.
Really?
Oh, her stories.
You got to know what that's sprayed in the crowd for.
Yeah, maybe pepper spray.
Cartel members running around and shit.
Her story, but that's her story. Wait till we win this world title, and her autobiography is going to be an incredible one,
mate. Let's tell you what,
that people want
when she wins, we'll get her on here.
Yeah,
do some highlights because, like, I think it sounds like there's a lot of stories to uncover there as well.
Yeah.
Man, I didn't know this is good energy. All right, so who got you into your first pro fight, and how was that first fight?
So Adam Watt is my trainer, the one I was telling you about. Mm-hmm. So my first pro fight was a bit of a disaster, but then again, this is all adds to the journey. It wasn't a disaster. I won the fight. I just didn't get the decision, so I lost the fight on box rec.
Really?
Yeah. I was fighting a guy. It was supposed to be I'm a welterweight, and I moved up 1 division to super welterweight.
Yeah.
On 3 days' notice to fight somebody, an undefeated pro. I felt like I won 3 out of the 4 rounds. We were still wearing 8-ounce gloves, which is actually illegal. You're supposed to wear 10-ounce gloves at that weight. He turns up at middleweight.
Yeah. And
the promoter just turns around to me and says, well, take it or leave it.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it. And I'd already handed all the money for the tickets that I'd sold. So I was like, well, I can't let everyone down now because they'll never come again.
Yeah.
So I was all right, well, my back's against the wall. I'll fight him anyway. So I fought him. Don't get me wrong, I didn't fight my best. I probably should have beat him a lot easier, but I did win the fight. But I lost it on the decision.
Yeah.
They gave it to the local guy. Again, boxing's a business disguised as a sport.
For sure.
He was the homeboy. He was the golden boy. He's the prospect. I was just a backpacker having a crack sort of thing.
Really?
But in that performance, I think a lot of people go, oh, that guy can fight. That guy knows what he's doing.
Right. So you're happy with like how it looked?
Yeah. It didn't. Again, it's part of my journey. When people now lose a fight, I can say, I lost my first pro fight. I only lost 2 as an amateur. So I had a real good undefeated run as an amateur before I lost. Turning pro, I lost on the first go. So when people talk about that now, I can even relate to that.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of businesses start behind the 8 ball as well.
100%, yeah, it puts you in a bad position. Actually, one of my professional boxers at the moment, a guy called Danvers Kashiri, you keep an eye out for him, he's going to be a beast as well. He lost his debut, and obviously it was great because I could relate to it. He had in fact, his was worse than mine. In a 4-round fight, he knocked the guy down twice, which by the 10-point must system, which is how boxing scored, it's mathematically impossible to lose a 4-round fight if you knock someone down twice. And they gave it to the other guy. And I was like, what are you doing? Like, we can't have lost this fight. It's impossible we've lost this fight. Yeah. You cannot lose a fight if you score 2 knockdowns in a 4-rounder. They wouldn't change the decision. Again, he could have walked away salt. He didn't, and now he's won his last 4. He's now on a 4-fight win streak after that.
What's his record in total?
4-1. 4-1 now as a pro.
And what was your record between the one where you started with your loss to when you finished?
So I won my next 11, and then I lost my last one. My last one I'd sort of...
Who was the last one again?
A guy called Ben Kite.
Right.
Ben Kite. He's... I took that fight. I'd sort of mentally... I'd already started to transition into coaching.
Yep.
They phoned me up, gave me, again, 2.5 weeks notice. Perfectly planned. Let's get Ben when he's not ready. I went in and I fought him, and I fought terribly. I lost that fight fair and square.
Right.
And that one hurts me to this day because it's a guy I should have beat, no dramas. And I've been trying. If Ben Kite agreed to this fight, I'll be back in training tomorrow.
Yeah. They keep you up at night still.
No, it doesn't keep me up at night. But if the opportunity was there, I would love to redeem myself because I shouldn't have lost that fight.
That's hectic.
Like, I did lose it. I'm not saying I got robbed.
Yeah.
I lost it, but I lost it because of me, not because of him. Because I went in, I had a massive weight cut because I hadn't been training. I wasn't fit. I did no strength and conditioning, no running. I sparred twice and I hadn't fought for like 9 months. So it's nothing. I did almost 0 training. Still went in there and did a good 10-rounder with him, gave him a hard fight.
But this is your standard self-awareness perfectionist.
Yeah. But again, like all the things that I tell my boxers, always be ready, always be near your weight. There's so many things that I say. And I ignored all of my own advice until this fight.
It's always the way, bro.
Yeah. So that was like... And
I'd already say, not as I do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Unfortunately, I should have been doing it as well. But
who was the guy from Queensland that you fought that was on Instagram and YouTube?
Kyron Dryden.
Yeah, wasn't that 12 rounds?
Yeah, it was a 12 round.
Was that your first 12 rounder?
Yeah, first 12 rounder.
Bro, I actually watched that.
Yeah.
How the fuck does it feel to go 12 rounds? And how was that particular fight? Because that would have been a bit messy.
Yeah, do you know what? When I was an amateur fighting 3-round fights, I was the fittest man on the planet. Like, unbelievably fit. And I used to be like knackered at the end of 3 rounds. I was like, how is it possible that someone could do 12 rounds? They can't be four times fitter than me. It's not that. It's relaxation.
Really?
Yeah, the ability to control your adrenaline levels and just stay calm in the heat of battle. And then obviously managing your energy. You can't go out like a lunatic like you can in the amateurs because you've got to go further and further.
Yeah.
So it was about managing energy levels and not panicking and getting tense and stuff, staying relaxed. That's the secret to doing 12 rounds.
That was
supposed to being
hectic.
4 times fitter than an elite amateur doing.
Bro, I was even tired watching. I was like,
yeah, that was an emotional fight because there'd been a lot of talk prior to the fight. Like,
I was going to say,
everyone was raving about him, saying he's like the next big thing in boxing, and he was a big punch. I think he'd knocked out 11 out of 12 opponents or something. So he was like,
that was his record before.
Something like that. Yeah, he was a big puncher. Like, he was a dangerous guy. So going into that, and there's a few things. He wasn't the most popular guy with a lot of women for certain reasons and stuff. Right. So there was a lot of women behind me supporting me and stuff.
So this was all on social media leading up to
all over social media. Yeah, all over social media. We did like a build-up thing where we had to square up to each other and chat shit face to face and stuff.
How much of it's like real versus coordinated in some of these? I mean, I know it depends case by case, but like even this one, for example,
it's hard to say. Like, I mean, obviously you're expected to sell the fight, but this one got a little bit personal. Bygones be bygones. It's only boxing, but for sure. At the time, it felt personal. Yeah, it did to me anyway. It felt personal to me, and I'm sure it did to him. So we went into that fight a lot of passion, a lot of emotion. Yeah, and we had a 12 round.
Was it easier or harder than what you thought that one would be?
Easier.
Yeah,
easier. Yeah. I nearly stopped him in the 4th round. Should have probably stopped him if I'd have had a few more seconds left.
Yep.
To get him after him with a body shot. The mistake that I made is exactly what you've just discussed. I was so scared of getting tired that I held back for the best part of the fight. Like, I was constantly just pulling back, just doing just enough to win. So I've got the reserve in the tank just in case.
Yep.
if I'd have probably had the confidence in my fitness to put the foot on the gas, I probably could have got him out of there.
Yeah.
But who knows? Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Listen, I mean, I've watched it, man. Like, just 12 rounds. It was like,
and it was a rough one as well. There was
it was. It was hectic
and all sorts of stuff going on. It felt like a bit of a street fight.
It looked like it was a proper scrap and a brawl. That one. I think that one's got like most pick up on YouTube actually.
Yeah, probably
your fights.
Yeah,
I think probably because there was social media buzz around it.
Yeah, he's obviously a fairly well-known guy. He's doing all sorts. I think he's doing OnlyFans, as we were talking about from the game on. Someone told, I don't know if that's true. Someone told me he's doing OnlyFans now, but he does a lot of like, I think a lot of stuff like, you know, Jackass used to be. It's a lot of cranks and silly stuff, but he's super popular. He's
really,
he's got a massive following.
I don't know. That was the most like social media covered, you know.
It was big.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people got into it. Not because of me, because of Kyron, because he was super well known and everyone knew he was in Australia boxing.
This was before like YouTube boxing was. This is long before that, right?
But he's not a YouTube boxer.
No, I know, but that's
he's just a real fighter who does YouTube as opposed to
correct
who does real
correct.
fighting.
But I think what I'm getting at is like this is before like social media became the go-to tool for boxers.
Yes, yeah,
you know,
yeah. Oh, I reckon if we'd have fought 3 or 4 years later, it would have been 10 times bigger again.
Well, yeah, because you've got your following now as well.
Yeah,
and
but even like I don't want to take credit for that. More so because of him.
Yeah.
But definitely mine would have helped because I've obviously built a name for myself now. But
yeah, I feel people kind of like I don't know they want to see people that they know fight.
100%.
You know what I mean?
And yeah, when you feel like you know somebody in the ring, it changes everything. It's so much more exciting from a spectator perspective. It's so. You can't imagine, like, even if you just know somebody a little bit, when they're fighting, you feel so much more invested into that fight.
Yeah, and you've just nailed it because, like, you know, you said at the start of this podcast, it's like it's a business disguised as a sport almost, right? But like, this almost adds like a gladiator element to it, where it's like if you know your favorite character, and
that's the reason boxers need to be out there marketing themselves.
Yeah, and
you need to be live on social media.
Correct.
I don't agree with sharing sparring, but share some pad work. Talk some smack.
But it's consensual sparring sharing. I think that's kind of...
Yeah. For me, I don't like people... I think sharing sparring's wrong because there's the context is never there. Like, one boxer might be working on something specific, which means that they're happy to lose that round because you don't try and win rounds in sparring, or you shouldn't be. If you've been told, right, I want you to try and land this X, Y, and Z, and you're doing that, in the process, you're getting outboxed. It can flatter somebody else. And like, my trainer used to always completely fatigue me the day before a spar, so I'd go into the spar a little bit under myself. So thank God people aren't sharing the videos of my spar.
Yeah, but you've got a more evolved, higher level of thinking, Ben. Most people like me want content, me want see punch.
Yeah. But I mean, I feel like sharing fights is fair go because both of you are absolutely at peak. Like, inspiring, one of you might be out of training camp, one of you might be about to fight and at your absolute peak. There's so many variables.
For sure.
If in a fight, we're both expected to be at the best of our game. If you fight and there's an audience there and there's a winner and a loser and you both gave it your best and you get your head punched in, and it goes on YouTube.
That's a very good point. What about, I mean, there's those funny ones where like the guy walks into the gym and challenges the coach and gets flogged. I like that as well.
Oh yeah, they're the best.
You seen that one going around? I said you the other day.
There's loads.
Like, come on, let's work.
People are delusional, man.
Oh, 100%.
People like,
mostly Americans.
People are like, people who like have never fought think that having a street fight means they can box. Like, they've had a drunken street fight the last 5 seconds. And then they go and challenge an MMA fighter or a boxer, and you're like, you're a moron,
bro. This is a good point because I want to talk about like the characteristics and the attributes that like martial arts, obviously specifically boxing, brings. Like, we've been around a lot of the same people. Like, some of the best people I know could fucking murder someone in a ring. Some of the worst people I know couldn't put a glove on an ant.
Yeah.
You know?
There's a big difference between drunken street fights and trained fighting. There absolutely is.
Do you think it like just builds humility, character, respect?
Yeah, I think most men, especially with the testosterone levels, they've got something to prove. There's an ego there. There's an element of, I want to be a bit of an alpha male. Not so much now, but when you're younger, like we've all, I'm sure you can appreciate,
dickhead.
even if it's just a little bit. But the difference is, people who go into martial arts appease that urge in the martial art. So they learn to fight. Usually you get humbled because you get the shit beat out of you by somebody who's more experienced when you first start, and you soon learn the way of the world.
Yeah.
And you you're getting all that energy out in the gym. It's the people who don't go to the gym, who watch a bit of boxing on TV over a few beers, and then they start visualizing it, and that's where that stuff comes into it. So that's the difference. I think like martial artists probably share the same views at the start as most drunken dickheads who send a message.
It's just like a more productive way to channel.
Yeah, but theirs is channeled. That's it. Theirs is channeled, and it humbles you. Believe me, it humbles you.
Yeah.
Boxing, in fact, any martial art, any full contact martial art, not so much the fake martial arts.
What do they call it? Bullshido?
Yeah, like
bullshido?
If there's 10 guys coming at you with a knife and you do something right, it's like, touch a pressure point. It's like, bullshit.
Yeah.
UFC, you can do anything you want, and none of these martial arts are present in the UFC, and that's for a reason.
Yeah.
They're not effective martial arts. Don't get me wrong. If you're doing one of their martial arts, it's better than doing zero. But if you really want to learn to fight, you have to learn to fight in full contact martial arts, boxing, Muay Thai, wrestling, jiu-jitsu. It's proven in the UFC, like the martial arts that are the most effective. You lost me on that one.
No, this is good. No, I was gonna say, let me just backpedal it a little bit.
Yeah.
The discipline you learn, the respect, the people who get in street fights and they think
that's what I was
king shit of the world.
I was going.
See, because I got ADHD and I had to pull things back in.
Go back. The point I was making is people. I'll speak about boxing, but this applies to most martial arts. Cocky, brash, mouthy kids come in the gym. They spar somebody with more experience, more talent, more skill. They get humbled very quickly and they suddenly realise they're not the top dog in this place. They become humble. Nervous, shy, unconfident kids go in the gym. They're nurtured. They're built up in their confidence. They start with light sparring and it builds them up. So boxing's got this amazing way of leveling people out, and eventually everyone becomes. You go into a gym full of people who've been boxing for a while, and there's not many egos. Very rarely you come across an ego.
100%.
It levels people out. The nervous kids become more confident. The cocky kids get brought down to earth very quickly.
Bro, that's
one of the. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
it's one of the best things about boxing.
That's what I love about it.
It gives you what you need.
Yeah,
whichever way you are, wherever you are when you start, it's going to put you in the right place.
So funny, bro. Like when you and I met, and I started learning and just doing the ropes as a beginner. Like I hadn't been in the ring before.
Yeah,
like I grew up in the area, so it was street fights and stuff. But like this was my first time at actually, putting myself to something. But I was in a dark place at that time because I was going through some business stresses, and I just beat a really big court case, which you know about, which was very stressful, and that took me into such a dark place. I was like, fuck, man, I might not even be here in like a few weeks, I don't know. And I was, when I came out the other side, I was just like, I felt as if I had been given a gift of a second chance at life. And I was like, I've got to do something that's so fucking hard, that's going to push me to a place that I've never been before. Because I've never tried to do that. And even though it's just a first fight, like a, amateur, charity fight, but you still have to drag yourself through all those emotions to get out the other side. And for me, it's literally one of the best things I've ever done.
Yeah. Well, it's
the experience of learning,
The way I always explain it is this. When you talk about holidays of your past, you never talk about the good holidays. You always talk about the negative things. It's always, when we went on that holiday and it was a disaster. It's funny how all these the bad things in your past always end up being the stuff that you talk about so highly.
I say that to everybody, so bro. The worst things that ever happened to me have been the best things that ever happened
100%,
to me.
The lowest I've ever been, like I said, was just after I got to Australia. But if I hadn't been on that journey, I wouldn't be here now.
Yeah.
I'd probably be in my hometown or wherever I'd be, probably up to no good and not being the happy person that I want to be.
Yeah.
So I had to go through that. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here.
Isn't it amazing? Even when we were in Thailand, I got that behind my ear.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I have some guardian angels. It's just like, fucking, I'll just pay my respects.
It's true. But it's that with, even when the shit stuff happens and you don't know what the lesson was, you still laugh about it. There's still a highlight. There's nothing funnier to me than talking about when something went so badly wrong that at the time seemed like the end of the world. Now that's the funny story to tell.
Sometimes when a bad thing happens, I'm like, I fucking can't wait to figure out why this happened.
Yeah, exactly. The majority, not always, obviously, but the majority of them are their lessons. Lead somewhere.
Right.
They're an opportunity to learn something. They're not a guaranteed lesson.
Yeah.
It's up to you to figure out what you're supposed to do to not let that happen again.
Yeah.
And there's the lesson. Again, back to Viviana. She made me realise that, whereas I'd be like, it's the end of the world. No, and
Yeah.
why does God hate me?
Well, she's emblematic of like, you know, getting outside your comfort zone, doing things people say you can't do.
Yeah.
It feels like sometimes we preach from the same gospel.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I do think generally, like, I think martial arts is a net positive to the world, and I think it makes people better people.
Yeah.
I think it makes dickheads become normal.
Yeah,
And I think it makes shy people become confident. And, you know, I'm not even letting my kids go to school until they've done martial arts, to be honest.
Oh, mate, I encourage any parents who are listening, get your children into martial arts.
Hey, I'll put mine up for adoption if they don't go.
It's the most important thing you'll ever do.
100%.
It's the best thing that my dad ever did for me.
Yeah.
Get me into martial arts. It was the best. Well, obviously for me, because I went down that journey as well in particular. But even if you only get a little bit from it, it's become my life's journey. Yeah. Even if your children only learn a bit of discipline and a bit of respect for other children, that's enough. They've gained something from it.
Yeah. Even I've seen mates that have got in street fights and like nearly got murdered because they've like mouthed off to someone where I'm like, if you knew what you were doing when you did that, that you would not have been in this situation.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
exactly.
It teaches you to have respect for people.
Yeah.
Even if it's a homeless man on the street, mouthing it off, Carol, fucking leave him alone. You don't know what he's capable of.
Yeah, exactly.
Could be a retired heavyweight. He'll fucking kill you. Just leave him alone.
Yeah, especially in this day and age with guns and knives and stuff.
Yeah, that's up the ante, bro. But yeah, the respect.
So if you've got the urge to be violent and aggressive, go to the boxing gym.
100%.
Go to the boxing gym. Don't do it in the street.
What do you think of BKFC?
Oh mate, it's mad, isn't it? One of my boxers, Dara wants to do it as well. He said, right, I'll just do one at the end of my career just to see what it's like. I've had that urge as well in the past.
Really?
Like, just for one.
Do you think it's one of those things where it's like it's just so fucking hectic? It's like, I want to see if I can do it.
Yeah, like I'm a little bit of an adrenaline junkie in that sense. Like, to me, I look at that and go, oh, that's mad. Like, I don't think I'm gonna do it purely because I see people's hands after their fights. And you are guaranteed to break both hands to pieces.
Really?
It's like, it's going to happen. Their hands are...
More than the head?
And like, they're superficial cuts. Like, I don't think they're any more damaging to the brain than boxing. It's just more... There's a lot more superficial damage because of, like, bare knuckle on skin.
Right.
So it makes a mess. You look a bit of a mess, but I don't think it's any more dangerous for rocking the brain than being hit with an 8-ounce glove on. There's not much difference. It's more about the hands. And for me, I'm like, well, my living is my hands. And I'm not talking about punching people anymore. I'm talking about holding pads and coaching. So it's, for me, it wouldn't...
Well, your living's also your hands and your brains at this point. Really.
Yeah, that's it. So for me, as much as I think that would be an exciting thing to do, as hectic as it is, I'd only do one if I was ever going to do it, just to say I've done it.
Yeah.
But for me now, I'm like, reached the point where I'm like, it's time to make money instead of making exciting things happen.
Yeah, earn dollars instead of losing brains.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like... I don't know how anyone could have a career out of it, though. It feels like more of a novelty than a fucking career.
I don't know how you can have, like... Some of them have already had, like, 10 and 15 fights. I'm like, you must be nothing left of your hands. I don't know how you can have 15 of them.
Bet your head.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, you end up with a lot of scar tissue. You'll be surprised. They've done studies between MMA gloves and boxing gloves, and there's almost zero difference.
Really?
Like, you've got to remember, it's the turning of the head that does the brain damage. When you get your head rocked, your brain bounces off the side of your skull. So it's that, as opposed to, it doesn't matter whether it's a sponge here and you're hard enough to whip your head, or a knuckle. The only difference is the knuckle will cut and the sponge won't. The sponge being this big in a boxing glove. There's not a lot of padding in professional boxing gloves, believe me. But it's the impact that does the damage. It's not necessarily the bone on bone.
What about like where you get like a blunt force bone break? Does that not damage the brain as much?
No, well, I mean, it's rocking of the brain. It depends how, if you get hit and your head bounces off the pavement or something, absolutely. But it's the rocking of the brain. So, like MMA, believe it or not, they reckon that boxing is far worse for the brain than MMA. Even though
I can believe that.
It's a lot more dangerous. Because MMA slices you to pieces, but you're getting kicked in the leg, you're getting choked, there's a lot more things which make it appear more brutal. Whereas boxing is just knocking of the head, knocking of the head, knocking of the head. And it's a consistent knocking of the head causes that.
Have they done studies on that?
CTE, yeah. There's even a film on it. Will Smith filmed CTE and stuff. But that's about football. But obviously the same applies to boxing. Yeah. But yeah, there's studies between MMA and boxing.
Okay, what about...
I'd still rather take the brain damage than them low kicks, them MMA guys.
Oh, man, have you seen how hard they can kick?
It's to me,
wouldn't be able to walk.
Boxing's a game of skill. Boxing's artwork. MMA and Muay Thai are like another level. They're pure brutality.
Just seeing how hard they kick, I don't even know how a leg can sustain a kick like that.
Sod that.
Yeah.
Sod that. Fucking, they can keep that.
That's why you see John Wayne Parham, like he can give a murderous kick, but the ability to take one of that power.
Any sport where the defense is to put your shin in the way of a shin flying at you, mind blowing to me. Like, don't get me wrong, I respect it, but fuck that. You can keep that. You can keep that. I was boxing.
Yeah, we sponsor a lot of the UFC fighters. Yeah. He's obviously on quite low pay at the time. Yeah, man. Some of the shit they go through. Fucking brutal. What about like the rise of these novelty things like power slap?
Oh, that's just idiotic.
Wait, I've been dying to get your take on this.
It's retarded.
Give me dump it all.
Absolutely idiotic.
Yeah.
Standing there, because you're not meant. Any sport where you're not supposed to defend yourself is. It's idiotic.
It's a kind of
absolutely
really
stupid. Just standing there like taking slaps, like, and it's dangerous. Like they're getting there exactly what we were just speaking about. They're getting their head whipped and their head bouncing off the side of their brains bouncing off the side of their skull, and it's not even how much skill is there involved really. It's an absolutely stupid sport.
I don't know how it's legal.
It won't last very long.
Have you seen the comments online underneath all the videos?
Nah,
stupid shit. Get this off my feed.
It's terrible. It's terrible. I appreciate martial arts and I appreciate violence.
Yeah.
In the correct saying. Yeah. That's nothing. It's just idiotic. Like even YouTube fights, like all these like the Jake Pauls of the world, I love it.
Yeah.
The only reason I ever fought on TV, and I fought on TV a few times, was thanks to Paul Gallen. And people used to slag Paul Gallen off.
Wait, what do you mean thanks to Paul Gallen?
Because if he wasn't on the card, it'd have been in an RSL somewhere.
Oh,
he's
right.
a seller.
You're on one of his cards?
I've been on a few, yeah.
Oh, hectic.
Yeah, he's
a good example of starting late in your career and succeeding.
Yeah, he did amazing.
Full respect.
And he's the one that, like, if he wasn't, the folks wouldn't have picked up the cards.
Yeah.
The only reason they were on TV, again, boxing's a business, it's not a sport. They don't care how talented you are, they care about how many views and how many dollar signs you're going to give them. Paul Gallen brought that, and the benefit of that was all of us boxers who were just boxing, who didn't have that name, got the opportunity to fight on TV in front of a wider audience. So for me, the Jake Pauls, I don't want to say Paul Gallen really in that bracket anymore because he's not. Like he had a lot of real fights. He even fought Justice Hooney, who's one of the best fighters in the world. Like the man's an animal. I've got so much respect for him. But it's thanks to him that I got the opportunity to fight on TV. But the same applies to the YouTubers as well. The Jake Pauls of the world are making a platform, introducing new people to boxing. And just because they go on to watch Jake Paul fight, they end up watching 5 or 6 real boxers and understanding who they are as well.
I say that to everyone, man. Like, I like people who, put it this way, people who talk shit on the internet, we all know what they're like anyway.
Yeah.
You know, someone with Cheetos all over their chest.
Yeah.
It's fucking gassed all over.
Jab more. Should have used these jabs.
Yeah. Just a fucking YouTuber. Like, you get in the ring. Yeah. Get in the ring and then talk shit.
Like when you're fighting, you always hear people in the audience, fucking knock him out. I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't think of that. Cheers for that one. Genius. I wasn't trying that one. Maybe I'll try that.
Sorry, that was good.
Oh mate, you get them all. Some of the things that the fans say are unbelievable.
Have you ever had anyone with an iron chin that you just can't drop?
Yeah.
You know, like someone's coming at you like the Terminator and they just will not fucking go down?
Yeah, but many of them.
Do you reckon they're more intimidating than someone with a hard hit? Someone that just won't drop?
For me, yeah, absolutely. I've never thought about that. Yeah, for me, absolutely. When I first started boxing, I was scared of power. When you've been boxing for 10 years, 50, you're not even worried about power anymore because you're relying on your ability to not get hit anyway. But when you're hitting somebody and they don't stop coming, that's a pretty terrifying situation to be in.
Yeah, that's kind of like my first one, I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember you called me up before. You're like, you can back out. I'm like, nah, I can't.
Yeah. I got so much respect for you for taking that one because I told you not to take it.
You did. I mean, look, for me, it was like, even if I got fucking murdered, I was like, I have no right to tell people in my world, like, win at all costs, persevere, crack on, never say no, fucking do everything you got to do, never back down. I could never tell people that.
And then back down.
Yeah, so I was like, look, the guy's a weapon. He's a triathlete. He's had 4 fucking wins. So I'm just going in there.
10 weeks.
10 weeks. Fucking asthmatic. Like, I'm like, I'll just.
Did amazing, man.
Yeah, thanks so much
respect for that. People who don't know boxing won't understand that. People who don't know boxing, especially in the amateurs, they think that amateurs should have records like professional boxers do.
Yeah.
Professional boxers build their record by beating bums mostly. Amateur boxing, it's always 50-50 or against you. So if you've got loads of losses as an amateur, it doesn't mean you're a bad boxer.
Yeah.
Like Viviane, like I said, we went on this mad journey, 30-odd fights. I bet she lost 15 of them. but within a year she was the best in the country.
Yeah.
But people, when you turn professional, no one asks you what your amateur record was. They don't care about that. What they want to know is, oh, you won an Australian title, you must be decent.
Yeah.
Being 3-0 and as an amateur doesn't mean anything. No one gets respect 3-0. Oh, so you've only had 3 fights. Oh, well, that's what that tells me. It's having the balls to fight dangerous people.
Yeah, man.
Which you will lose. There's a bar like Lomachenko and guys like that. You're gonna lose. It's part of your apprenticeship. It's a learning process to get you to the pros or to get you to the Olympics or the bigger tournaments. So losses are fine. But people who don't box don't understand that, and they go, "Oh,
Correct.
what's your record? Oh, you lost. Oh, rubbish."
Yeah.
And it's not that at all.
Bro, it's the same in business. I think this is why you and me get along so well, because we appreciate this shit. We appreciate losses.
Yeah.
You know? We appreciate being against odds, overcoming failure, overcoming adversity.
Yeah.
You know, doing shit outside your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Going against the odds, doing things people tell you couldn't or shouldn't do. Like, this is just part of life.
100%. I think I can't remember this exact saying, but there's something along the lines of like, the master has failed more times than the beginner's tried.
Yeah.
And it's so true. So I don't know if that's the exact same, but it's something like that. The master has failed.
Yeah.
The beginner's tried.
Yeah.
People only look at the success. Overnight successes take 10 years.
Yep. 100%.
Just because you see them come out and become a superstar, that's not. It's like every fight, not just my fight, any fight. People go, "Oh, well, it's only 10 rounds. It's only 30 minutes." No, it's not. It's years and years and years of learning the art of boxing, and then a hard 10, 12-week training camp. Then it's 30 minutes. 30 minutes is just the tip of the iceberg, like you spoke about earlier. Yeah. It's years, and this is not just boxing. This applies to everything in life. Success doesn't come easy.
No.
Success is hard, and you have to graft for it. Just because people see the
iceberg.
We were speaking just before. Like, I'm releasing the boxing app soon, and it's gonna take off.
100%.
It's 100% gonna take off.
I'm gonna make sure it does.
It's gonna be an overnight success.
Yeah.
It's not. It's my entire career since I was 10 years old learning to box, from probably 16, 17 learning to coach.
Yep.
Then I've had to learn how to speak in front of a camera, and there's all these processes. Having a pro career so that people respect my opinion, because even if you're right or wrong, if you don't have a respected opinion, most of the time you don't even get a voice. So there's so many things that are helping me towards this. It's years and years and years of building for this thing that's going to be deemed as like, oh, that took off pretty quick, but it didn't.
It's just, I know I've said it again, but it's like your app will be the tip of that iceberg, and everything you've just described is going to be what's under it.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like people might see a cool app where they can learn to box and they've got in-app purchases and different people they can learn from, but nobody will see this, like the failures and the attempts, all that went into it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like the same as the pro boxers. You watch one fight, fuck, that was entertaining.
Yeah.
But you would not have seen what that man would have gone through or what that woman would have gone through.
No idea.
Yeah.
No idea. And if you're ready to fight, you've had to add injuries and stuff, even in that training camp. They always say that if you haven't got an injury, you haven't trained properly. Yeah. To get ready to do a hard fight, the level of commitment and grind.
Some of the biggest injuries you've had?
I've broke my right hand twice.
Whereabouts?
Just on the metatarsals there.
Yeah, right. I did in there and there.
Oh, yeah? Yeah. I was quite a defensively minded fighter, so I've actually got away quite lightly, to be honest. Yeah. Mainly a lot of shoulder issues, elbow issues, all the right places. You're better off having shoulder, elbow, and hand issues than nose and jaw and eye issues. So I've had injuries in all the right places.
What it was at Bisbee where he get his eye.
Yeah,
man.
Luckily, I've never really had too much damage, to be honest.
Can I ask you about boxing and organised crime?
I mean, you can.
Let me characterize it. Let me characterize it properly. Like, maybe not necessarily organised, but like, you know how I said at the start, like anyone in martial arts has got an interesting backstory. Yeah. Whether they've had to overcome pain, poverty, mental health, whatever it may be. Often you'll see, for whatever reason, people like involved in this, that, or whatever, they seem to have an attraction to the sport. Yeah. So you'll see people that are like getting shot or whatever, like.
Not really. I think it's so well hidden even within the boxing industry. Obviously, we do see stuff, and you see there's a underworldy theme to it, but it's becoming less and less. I think Australian boxing especially, maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago was a lot more underworlded than
I
it
think
is now.
everything was 10, 20 years ago.
Yeah, but there's
I'm
always
talking-
the element, but with everything in life, where there's money, there's corruption, there's crime. It's as simple as that. It's not just boxing. Obviously, the naysayers will be like, oh, it's a violent sport full of thugs.
Yeah.
But the reality is most of the boxers and coaches I know are like the best people in the world.
Could not agree more.
Salt of the earth.
Could not
But
agree more.
As with everything, there's always going to be.
I mean,
some.
Well, I'm talking about incidents like, was it? I don't know if it was Hooney or someone's house got shot at in Queensland.
Yeah, I don't know what that related to. I literally have no idea.
You've got like Sam, who's an incredible boxer from Melbourne, got shot 9 times in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Like, for whatever reason,
Yeah.
like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a power thing.
I would say it's probably nothing to do with the boxing.
For
I would
sure.
say people who get involved in crime,
Yeah.
back to what we were saying earlier, the young alpha males getting up to no good, seeing money, hearing rap music, get involved in that.
Yeah.
They get involved with shit they shouldn't be involved in, and they go hand in hand. So it's probably that's the match, as opposed to boxing having any sort of links to it.
No, I don't have links between boxing. I think, let me rephrase it. I feel like people that are that way inclined are attracted to the sport for obvious reasons, right?
Yeah.
Because there's money,
Yeah.
there's power, there's notoriety.
Tough guy.
Correct, tough guy. Everything that someone in that world's going to want, it's there. And then at the same time, like, if you've got problems with someone who knows how to fight, like, and you can't resolve it with words,
Yeah.
like, do you think you just get, like, I guess people who are just like, I don't know if it's like weakness, I don't know if it's jealousy or whatever it is. Maybe it's envy, maybe it's ego, who knows? But they'll resort to like other measures to try and cause,
Yeah.
Well, what else makes someone drive past someone's house and shoot at it?
Like I said, there must be more to that story than we know. I can't imagine it's as simple as someone's jealous of Justice Hooney. There's obviously,
Right.
I wouldn't be able to say I don't know him, I don't know his family. I know him to say hello to, but I don't know him well enough to know anything about his life or what his family are into or not into. So
you reckon every incident's got a backstory?
what are the chances of someone driving past his house and shooting? There's obviously some friction somewhere.
What about the incident in Melbourne? Who the fuck shoots somebody 9 times through the window of a car?
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly, I couldn't.
In broad daylight, mind you.
Yeah, I got no idea. That's an assassination attempt. I got no idea. Honestly, got no idea what the connection is there.
I mean, I'm sure it's worse in Colombia where Viviana's fought.
Yeah, Colombia was a dangerous place, a beautiful place now.
You think it's improved a lot?
Oh, massively. Yeah. I could see myself living there eventually.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think we could end up.
Some little Colombian Pablos?
Yeah. Maybe more
Pablo Savas?
maybe more retirement age, but yeah, I think Colombia will eventually be the Bali of America.
Well,
It'll be the place where all the Americans go. The North Coast, beautiful weather, beautiful people, fresh fruit. You got the Amazon, the most diverse weather system in the world. 1 minute you're in the mountains, the next minute you're on the beach, you're in the jungle. It's a stunning country. Like don't let what Pablo Escobar did put you off Colombia. It's not. Obviously there still is that element, but it's everywhere. And it's becoming a better and better place by the year. So I think eventually it'll be a huge holiday resort.
I think you're right, but no one's going to Mexico anymore.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons.
Yeah. I think Mexico has taken over Colombia.
I believe you're right. Yeah. And I think there's like a lot of learning from history for them.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't think they want to kind of go back to that, whereas Mexico is just so out of control. I don't think anyone wants to go there.
You say that, but the Mo who we were talking about earlier is living there at the moment.
Who is?
Mo.
Oh, your mate?
Yeah.
Oh, your mentor?
Yeah, the guy that I sparred.
Right.
That story.
How does he say it is?
Fine.
Yeah?
Fine, yeah. It's just sensible. It's just, you've just got to be sensible. Like, I don't think...
You don't know, but you could be walking along being sensible and someone drops off 17 heads.
Yeah, but they usually drop them off to the person who they want to see them rather than a tourist who's sat on the beach.
Oh, I don't know. I've never really got inside the mind of a cartel.
Don't get me wrong, it's not the safest place on earth, but it's also not the most dangerous. Like when I was now back to Colombia, when I was in Colombia, don't go down the dangerous alleys. Don't go into the favelas sort of as they would be called.
Yeah.
Be sensible.
Yeah.
Go to the safe places and you're going to be safe and have your wits about you and you'll have a great time.
It's like anything, I guess. If you can manage the statistics, then you're kind of statistically going to be a lot better off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. What about I feel like the past couple of years for you has been like packed full of highlights for you, for Viviana, for your career, for the people you're coaching.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've just come back from the UK.
Yeah.
Like, what, like, over the past couple of years have been the biggest highlights? Because I'm sure there's been quite a lot.
Yeah. Many. Hanging
out with Eddie Hearn.
Yeah, hanging out with Eddie Hearn, that was pretty cool. Yeah, so I mean, from that perspective, Dara, I was only coaching amateurs at the time, and Dara is a good friend of mine. We used to be sparring partners.
Really?
Yeah, we were sparring partners.
Pick up a lot of friends sparring.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, it's amazing the bond you make with each other.
It's true.
So we were sparring partners because we were both fighting. We fought on the same card several times as well. And then he left his previous coach, and we were mates. And this is just at the start of COVID. And I was like, look, if you're out of a coach, I'll hold pads for you a couple of times a week, no problem. Just to tide you over. I wasn't trying to coach him. He's a mate, and I was trying to.
My name's Jim.
No, this is like in the parks, the COVID, like,
right.
COVID and stuff.
Okay,
a little bit of siege in where I was before.
Yeah.
And then from there, he actually, it was like a proposal. He took me out for dinner one night. I kept sending him to different coaches. Try that one. And then he takes me out for dinner one night, and he's like, "Will you be my coach?" It was like a proper proposal. It was really sweet.
You get wined and dined.
Yeah. It was nice. It was so nice. Like, cool. But it was an honor. Like, Dara's a world-class fighter, so to have him turn around and say, like, I want you to be my coach, it was an honor for me.
He's a hard worker, I think.
Yeah, he's a grafter. His story, he's another person, man. Get him on the podcast.
Talk me through his story.
Well, his amateur career was 1 win, 9 losses. Like, he was a write-off. Like,
really?
Never going to do anything. And he's now just fought the guy that should be the undisputed world champion.
Right.
He's gone from zero to hero, and obviously Dara's got the chat and the talk, and he's been in some great fights. He's an Australian champion. He's won. I think he's got like 15 title belts at home or something like that.
That's incredible.
The only one that's missing is the world title for him. So
right.
So we're not finished yet. Like,
who are some of your favourites in Australia at the moment? Because there's a few to choose from.
You can't look past Tim Zhu as one of the best. The Maloney brothers.
Incredible.
The Maloney brothers are unbelievable. There's a lot of names. Australian boxing's really taken off. Jai Pattaya is definitely one of my favourites. Sam Goodman.
Incredible.
Yeah, there's some real good boxers. Australia, when I first got to Australia 10 years ago, for me, my perspective of Australian boxers was just tough guys. Just they're tough, but they're not skillful. Now, in the last 10 years, I've watched it transition where now suddenly they've got the tough guy mentality, but they're also incredibly skillful. Like,
yeah.
So it's been good to watch that. You've seen like George Kambosos. We've gone from having no one really, Jeff Horn beating Manny Pacquiao. Like,
that was incredible.
The last 10 years of Australian boxing has been unbelievable.
Did you see the Liam Paro,
Brock Jarvis? I was up there. I was ringside for that.
Jesus Christ,
yeah.
that was a hard.
Yeah, he's got bombs.
It was like you blink and you would have missed that hit.
Yeah,
it was so quick.
Yeah,
and that was against Brock Jarvis.
Brock Jarvis, yeah,
he's a good fighter too. Very good fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like the community here is like really kind of going through a new phase.
Boxing's taken off, yeah. All we need is just more opportunities to display our skills on the world stage and on the domestic stage, and boxing is just going to keep growing and growing in Australia.
How do you feel about the because obviously you've got a couple of corporate boxing challenges under the belt now. Like, you know, what's
four already?
Congrats, man. That's good. Yeah, even just getting that first one. Yeah. Because remember how hard that was?
Yeah.
Like, how did that feel? How was that journey? Because I remember watching you go through that.
Yeah.
It's the proper entrepreneur. Like, we're gonna scrap this together. We're gonna scrap.
Yeah. It was a lot of grinding and hard work.
Harder than what you thought.
All of them. Yeah. Maybe a little bit harder than what we thought, but it's just perseverance. So basically, I've reached a stage in my life where the reason I'm doing the app and the boxing challenge and all these different things now, and I'm sort of branching out, is because if all I ever do is hold pads and coach boxers, professional fighters only pay you 10% of their purse when they fight. So there's no real money in that unless they get like $1 million payday and a $2 million payday, which are few and far between. So there's not really any money to be made. That's more my passion project. Obviously, it's nice if you make the money when you make the money.
Yep.
Everything else I do as far as coaching is concerned is how many hours I want to stand there and hold pads or tell people what to do. So I'm limited by how many hours I'm physically willing to stand there. So for me, it's about finding income streams that are going to pay me before I get out of bed in the morning. That's the way I want it. Now it's about that. Before I get out of bed on a Monday morning, I want money coming in. And that's my motivation now to start doing the corporate boxing challenge, doing the app. It's about having different business streams, which eventually the corporate boxing challenge, I'll always be the coach, but eventually the rest of the work, the recruitment and all that, which we're currently doing by ourselves, we can outsource that for sure. And it can become a easy business model. It's an hour a day, 6 days a week. And then we can pay people to do the rest. That's the end goal.
Yeah.
And the app, obviously, if it's a membership formula, before Monday morning, before I get out of bed on a Monday morning, I want my rent, eventually a mortgage, all that paying off.
That's good.
I don't want to get up in the morning and go, right, I've got to earn X amount this week. How many hours do I want to hold pads?
Yeah, it's nice when the pad holding becomes like kind of, more discretionary. Like, oh, that'll be fun today. I'm going to do that today because it's fun.
And I will.
Yeah.
Believe me, I will. Like, as these other things are taking off, my passion is boxing. If I won the 100 million on the Powerball this Friday, 100 million, don't get me wrong, I might have a bit of a holiday. Don't get me wrong, I might have a little
trip to Thailand.
I might have a little bit of a holiday. But eventually I will find myself back in a boxing gym.
Yeah.
100%. That's my purpose in life. I love it. Like, it's if I had the money, I would still be doing it for free. I just wouldn't be doing so much pad holding consistently.
Yeah.
Like, the physicality of it's hard, and I know I can't do it for the rest of my life. But I will always be involved in boxing. Like, it's my life's purpose. I was born to do this.
It's a good way to live, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm incredibly lucky.
Yeah.
I don't work. Like, it's not work. I'm hanging around with people that I like and get on with, chatting boxing, chatting about life, training, doing what I enjoy. I'm
good way to live.
So blessed.
Yeah.
But I don't always appreciate it, actually. To be fair, like, as we were talking about earlier, like, it's so easy to get down and in a rut. But the reality is I'm an incredibly lucky person. And obviously I've worked hard for it, but I'm blessed. I'm blessed.
Bro, you've brought the good energy to the podcast.
Yeah.
It's so cool, man, because everyone we've had on here, like, journey's been like this. And we've caught everyone right at that point where they found what they love and they're kind of looking at that next level, but everyone's very blessed to be where they are.
Yeah, exactly. I cannot stress it enough. If you don't like your job, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
You've got to do it for the rest of your life or until you retire. Like, you have to be happy in your workplace.
Yeah.
And for me, I do. For me now, like I said, it's just about diversifying it so that there's external income sources that don't require me holding pads all the time. But it's still boxing. It's the corporate boxing challenge. It's the boxing app.
Well, I think this stuff's all going to be a given, bro. Like, this is all seeds that you've planted. I think it's more about like kind of growth and harvesting.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't even get to the seed planting stage.
Yeah.
It
takes confidence. For me, that the job that I had, the one that I hated for 5 years, it drove me to have the confidence to do it, because it was like, well, I'd rather try and fail than keep doing this shit.
I say that to people all the time. I had people tell me you should get a job. I'm like, I'll fucking kill myself before I get a job.
Yeah.
0% chance.
And you can do that at any point in your life. You can go, this is not working, you go and get a job. Like,
I'm gonna do that.
No, I'll never do it either. But it's always there. Like, the monotony of doing that job, it drove me mad. Like, it drove me insane. I will never, ever, ever. So now, like, I've just got that's what gives me the confidence. Like, oh, this is an idea, I'll do that. This is an idea, I'll do that. And I just have a crack. Like, I've got no issues. And if it doesn't work, that doesn't work, what can I do next? That one. And that's where I'm hoping my major successes are going to come, is just the confidence to have a crack, to have a go at it.
It's almost like the fear of mediocrity is more than the fear of failure, hey?
Yes, yeah.
The fear of, like, living an average life.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Imagine you and me stacking shelves together.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Failure really most of the time only bothers people because they're thinking about what other people think of them.
Correct.
That's what that's about. It's the fear of other people laughing at you. Well, who gives a shit what? Look at what the people that are laughing are not the ones that are doing it anyway. I think the people that are doing and achieving in life go, oh, I remember being there. Don't worry, you'll come back. It's only the people that have never had a go that hate you when you failed, you're dead. They're the ones. There's no one above you and who are succeeding in life and who are triers. They never bag anyone. They're the ones that are looking, all right, sorry, mate, you've been there, I've been there. I tried that. You spoke earlier, I did that, I failed, and now I'm here. And it's that. So fear of failure more often than not is the fear of what other people will think of you. Whereas mediocrity is more in your heart. Like, you know in your heart that you've failed yourself if you don't go out and have a crack at life and have a crack at your goals. And that one hurts a lot more. That one hurts a lot more than trying and failing a few times before you find the success.
That was flawlessly said. I've just sat here to shut the fuck up and just listen to that excellent summary. I was actually going to ask you for your advice at the end of the podcast, but you just nailed that so well. I'm just going to say thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
I look forward to having Viviana on when she's won the champion fight.
Yep.
And I still feel like probably got more shit to talk about. So let's do this again in 6 months to a year.
No problem.
Ben Savva, thank you so much.
All good, mate.
Beautiful.
Cheers.